Well, hello out there. Great to see you guys. It's great to be with you. I hope you're having a great week. I know crypto was having a little bit of a hard time the last couple of weeks, and just Ethereum alone went up $400 just today. So we're back above $4,000, about $4,100 currently. I still have an expectation of $5,000 on Ethereum by the end of the year. So if you're risk adverse, be a little careful. But if you want to get involved, Ethereum is a good one to go with. I'm not a financial advisor at any means, and this is just for fun, just sharing with you guys what I'm doing. And if you dollar cost average into it, then great. You're going to do fairly well. Next year is going to be pretty interesting. And, you know, with everything going on this year, it's been quite interesting to just watch how, you know, work from home situations have changed and how travel's changed. And it looks like things are slowing down a little bit with this COVID. So pretty excited with where we're going. And for here at the company, Becker Logistics, we've done pretty well this year. Our team, executive team, management team, and employees, we've all done fairly well and really been able to serve our customers and our carriers quite well along the process. So we've got some exciting news coming up next year for Becker Logistics as we're going forward, and you'll see and hear more about that as we move forward. So today, what I really wanted to do is talk to you about setting goals, right? So as we're going through life, what are you doing in order to set goals to get what you want in your life? Specifically, let's look at SMART goals. If you're not familiar with SMART goals, we're going to go over that today. And goal setting is a powerful tool and a process that I use and have been using for over 10 years now. For thinking about your ideal future. What is your ideal future, right? Is what you're living right now your ideal future? Well, then great, then you've made it. And life is just perfect and everything's moving along. In my life, life is good. I've got a great family, great friends, great colleagues at work, great customers, great carriers. I mean, it's fun to be here working with everybody and really just setting the future and setting a passion where we can go ahead and set a destination and really just enjoy the journey. And for motivating yourself, you need goals and to turn your vision into a future reality, right? So how do you do that? How do you actually create your future? Well, top level athletes, successful business people, and just achievers in all fields, they all set goals. Setting goals gives you a long-term vision and a short-term motivation. It focuses on your acquisition of knowledge, right? What is ignorance, right? Ignorance is the lack of knowledge, education, and awareness. We all get ignorant sometimes because we're missing that knowledge, education, and awareness. And these SMART goals help you to organize your time more effectively and efficiently and your resources so that you can make the most out of your life and really affect the people that are around you. But not all goals are SMART goals. We have to look at that. So when you're looking at SMART goals, how are you managing your SMART goals? But they can be SMART goals. So what does SMART stand for? Number one, you have S is for specific. M is for measurable. A is for attainable. R is for relevant. And T is for time bound. I want to go more in depth in each one of these steps with you today so that you know what it really means to have a SMART goal. So S for specific. The first thing is S, right? And as we get more specific into what we're working on, what our goal is, when setting a goal, be specific about what you want to accomplish. Far too many times we start out and we fail to remember what is it that we set out to go do, right? How often does someone say, hey, come on over to my house, and it's a new person you just met. I just met someone at a Christmas party right down the block. They said, yeah, come on over to my house. Now I get in my car, I'm starting to drive, and then I realize I don't have the guy's address. Really? So you got to be specific. If you don't know the destination and where you're going to, you're never going to get there. How often do we just cowboy it up or just go by happenstance to go ahead and go just do whatever? We need to be specific. This is about this mission statement for your goal. How do you create a mission statement for the goal? Being specific is the first place to start. This isn't a detailed list of how you're going to meet your goal, but it's about something that should be included, right? You need to include the answer to the popular W question. So what are the W question? Or what are the W questions? There's a lot of W's that we fail to really think about as we're looking at being specific. When you stop at specific and you have this process, you can actually say, where am I? What do I need to do? And how do I do it, right? So let's talk about this. Number one, you need the who. Consider who needs to be involved to achieve your goal. If it's just you, do you need any other resources, a coach, a manager, a mentor, your wife, your spouse, partner, friend, whatever, whoever it is, who else is going to be responsible with you for your accountability? And the second is what? Think about exactly what are you trying to accomplish? And don't be afraid to get detailed about it. So who and what? Next is the when. You'll get more specific about this question under a time-bound criteria. Selecting your SMART goals, right, is good. That's really good. But you should at least set a time frame of when you are going to be specific. Okay, and as we're doing that, you have to be specific about the measurable. So each one of these are like containers, think about, or steps that you're going through in order to reach that. The next is where. The question may not always apply specifically to what you're dealing with, but especially if you're setting a personal goal, but if there's a location or a relevant event that may be happening, identify it here with the W for where. Next is which determines any relevance related obstacles or requirements that are really needed. So when you can look at the relevant requirements that are really needed, and this question can be beneficial in deciding if your goal is realistic or not, right? Some people make these goals for themselves and they're just not realistic. When we're looking at these things, we have to be realistic about what we're really capable of doing. Now, I'm not saying play small. One of my values are to take on things larger than myself, what most people wouldn't even attempt to do. It may be something that takes a long time, maybe over a year. It may be a journey that I'm on that's going to be in the next 20 years. But when we're doing this, you have to identify that. Finally is the W for why. What is the reason for your goal? When it comes to using this method for employees, the answer will likely be along the lines of maybe company advancement, increasing their book of business, increasing their incentives, career development. That could be the why. Sometimes we go out playing and we want to set a goal. Number one, we don't have a SMART goal. Number two, we haven't had a why. Why are we doing this? You have to be very specific in that. So when we're looking at S for SMART for specific, you need to be specific on the why. Why are you trying to do this? All right. So really look at that. You need to have a strong enough why. And if it doesn't really get you going, then look at your why. Change your why, change your life. So next is M. When we look at M, it's measurable. How are you going to manage this along the way? Right? Think of this like the fuel in your car, right? Or your battery percentage in your car. right? So as you're driving, what percentage are you at and when are you going to run out? So it needs to be measurable. So make sure your goal is measurable. If not, just stop. Don't do it. Specifically, it is a solid start, but qualifying your goal makes it easier to track the progress. Know when you're going to reach that finish line, or where are you on the field, right? Look at football. Football knows they're on the 30-yard line, and they know they need 9 more yards to get a first down. If they didn't have these measurable, attainable goals, they would never win the game. That's how the game's played, except for the Monday quarterback, right? I would have did this, right? If it's a project that's going to take, a few months, a few years to complete, then set some milestones by considering specific tasks to accomplish along the way. For example, you want to run a marathon, right? This is going to be coming up in 4 months, but you only run twice a week for 3 miles each time. Are you really ready for that? You have to measure yourself and ask yourself, are you ready for that? You'll want to set a milestone to increase your frequency and increase your mileage as well. So you'll be able to be prepared for this marathon that will be coming up. Now, I've done a half marathon and I've done it at like 7.5 minute pace. And it was really challenging. It was really fun. And it felt like I was sprinting the whole time. Pretty much it was. Could have went faster, but my feet were burning, right? And that was the Chicago Distance Classic many years ago. And I was a runner in high school, really enjoyed it, track and cross country. But you have to be realistic with what you're measuring. Are you ready to run a marathon if you're only running twice a week? I'd say no, but it's a good place to start. So when we get to A, you want to be setting a goal that's really attainable. So as we look at a SMART goal must be attainable. This will help you figure out ways you can realize the goal and work towards it, right? This achievable goal, if you will, should be stretched to make sure that you feel challenged, right? Don't say, well, I'm going to have a goal of standing up if you are capable of standing up. But it needs to be defined well enough that you can actually achieve it, right? If you're ridden to a wheelchair, and you haven't stood for 20 years, there are tools out there that can actually make that happen mechanically, right? And there's other things out there. I'm not a doctor, right? But my grandmother was in a wheelchair and there for many years before she passed away. She had her leg amputated, right? There are other things that can be achievable for her, and she was going through that. What are you reaching out for? And are you trying to stretch too far, or are you trying to be just kind of specific? Make this mean something as you're going through this process. I mean, you're listening to this and you made it this far. Make sure that you're in the game, right? And play big game. Try something that's been sitting there for the longest time and you're still complaining about it. I attack the things that I'm complaining about and I go fix it. And then I'm no longer complaining about it. So that's just how the brain is wired, all right? And you choose if you're going to listen to it or not. So we need to focus in on how important a goal really is to you, and what you can do to make it attainable. It may even require you to go develop something, if you will, maybe new skills, maybe changing your attitude. Notice that our attitudes they're like knee-jerk reactions. How do you learn how to control your attitudes, right? We're given this from our mother and father. We're given this by our environment that we grew up in. We're given this by the last company we worked at, right? We can identify that attitude. If we don't want it anymore, we can change it. We can change anything. You really can. You don't have to be hijacked each and every day, every single moment, especially on a project or creating a goal. The goal is meant to inspire and motivate, not to discourage. So make sure you find something really attainable that you really want to take on. That's where I look at complaints. Wherever the complaints are and they persist, I go after it. So let's get to the R. The R is relevant, right? When we look at this, we want to be relevant. Relevant refers to focusing in on something that makes sense with the broader business goals that are already there, right? Think about the big picture and ask yourself, why are you setting the goal that you're setting to start with, right? Why are you? A relevant goal is resulted in focus. Yes, the results are all from the foundation of being focused. It's not just an activity or an exercise that we're doing on a daily basis. Your goals should help you advance in some way, either academically or personally. Remember what I said about ignorance earlier? The ignorance, right? When you come across and you find yourself being ignorant, or someone else is being ignorant, right? I wouldn't necessarily say that publicly. It's just a lack of knowledge, a lack of education, and a lack of awareness. When I started talking about doctor stuff, I'm ignorant to that because I'm not a doctor. When I'm talking about financial stuff, I'm talking about what I do, and I'm trying to share that information with other people so that maybe you're learning something from it. But when it comes to a financial planner, I would say I'm ignorant to it because I don't have the knowledge. I don't have a Series 9 and the rest that goes with it. I don't have that knowledge or education. Now, I do have a little bit of awareness, and that could be a little deadly at times, but it can also be positive as well. So when we go through this, I digressed a little bit, but I want you to get what's relevant here, right? So remember, relevant is the goal focused for results, results focused. You really want that. As results focused approach will help you achieve your goal while ensuring it's a productive purpose, right? We want this to be productive and we want this to have some purpose. Otherwise, why are we doing it on this journey? T is for time bound. So when we're looking at time bound, you need to have this as specific as possible. So as we're going forward, you want to make sure that everything's time bound. When is this going to happen? Just like on a car, when's my Tesla going to run out of electricity, battery, right? I haven't been below 10%. I don't think I've ever let it get below 30%. But one day it's going to, and it's going to be a little bit different because I don't think there's going to be a charging station at the next corner. You got to look for those charging stations as we're going forward. So let's focus in on time bound, right? And it's the last but least. So as we look at T for time bound, to properly measure success, you or your colleagues, whoever's dealing with this, you or your team need to be on the same page each and every time. When a goal has been reached, what is that rung on that ladder that you're reaching to achieve? Is it already specified? Is it time bound? Is it done at the end of the quarter? Is it a sprint? Is it a promotional plan? However you work on it, from an agile world or a Scrum world, look at that. And as you measure that, make sure that that time bound is already set. Anyone can set goals, really. Anyone can set goals. But if it lacks realistic timing, chances are you're not going to be successful, right? You're not going to succeed in that process. Providing a target date for that deliverable is imperative. Let me reiterate, it's imperative. Any specific questions about the goal deadlines and what can be accomplished within that time period? For example, if you have a goal which will take 3 months, let's say, to complete that whole task, 3 months, let's just say January, February, March. It's useful to really to define what should be achieved halfway through the process. Matter of fact, if you drill down, you should say what should be done by March, what should be done by February, what should be done by January, and specify it into 3 chunks. Now, through that, you either have 4 or 5 weeks that you're dealing with within each one of those. Identify what those chunks are for each one of those milestones. That's how you get specific and set up that time bound. So is this making sense for you guys? What I'd like you guys to do is just start putting in some comments and questions. I have some questions that are coming in already. Anywhere we're going, let's go ahead and hit those and see what we've got so far. So over here, what I have is make it simple. Every owner makes goals for his or her business. So the equation is simple. Either you are the owner, you make goals, and either you are part of those goals, right, for the owner, which is up to the owner. He might take them onto the board or not. It depends. So to conclude, in the end, the owner profit will never equal your own profit or vice versa. Mainly depends on the rules. Number one. Awesome. I really appreciate it. That's from a LinkedIn user. Apparently we're not connected. So connect with us, follow us, and let's connect. Love the topic. So thank you. Love the topic, Jim. Have you made a SMART goal for yourself recently? I have several SMART goals. I have SMART goals for the company. I have SMART goals for myself. One of my SMART goals right now is we're going to be losing weight, right? So I let myself go a little bit. I have like this, if I just let myself go, I'm like 195. I like to be around 180. So we're going to lose 15 pounds next year. So I have 3 months to do it. Part of that is eliminating all alcohol for a month. Yep. Sorry if, no alcohol for a month. So it's going to be dry January. So we'll be enjoying that one. And, so I didn't bring all that forward, but I'm still working on it. So it will be measurable. My wife's going to be joining me on that. So that's going to be kind of cool. So if you want to succeed, in conclusion, if you want to succeed, honestly, you need to set goals. And knowing how to get goals and set those goals using the SMART framework, this really helps you in setting and attaining your goals, no matter if they're small or large. Without goals, you lack the focus and the direction. So if not only, SMART goals not only allows you to take control of your life and your life's direction, but it also provides a benchmark for determining whether you are actually going to be succeeding or not. See, a lot of things in between these two ears really messes up. They really do. It stops us from succeeding. So in the comments below, if you're listening to this recorded or live right now, just do me a favor. What's a goal that you set for yourself? And did you accomplish it in a timely manner? And what was that time frame you planned for? Did you meet it? Did you not nail it on the head at the end? Let us know in the comments below. So with that, thank you very much for tuning in to LinkedIn Live this week. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. And if you could be so kind, just go ahead and share for us. Share it so that other people that you're connected to on LinkedIn can see this information and content too. Thank you very much. Have a blessed week.